Okay. And you'll have to switch off your speaker.
Yeah, it is off.
Okay, perfect. And I'm going to start sharing my screen momentarily. Let me know.
And you can X out the volume thing.
The speaker volume.
Okay, banner वगैरह जो आ रहा है ऊपर को. Yes.
Okay, do you see a slideshow there on your screen? Is it a slideshow? Acha. Okay. All right, welcome again, dear devotees. Thank you for joining us here. It is a Saturday, and you made a choice to come and sit for Krishna Katha. That's just amazing. And so we'll start with the Mangalancharan prayers to increase the auspiciousness in the room. Om Jnana-timirandhasya Jnana-anjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padkamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavansya Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. जय श्री कृष्णा चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैता गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंदा. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 रामा राम राम हरे हरे. गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. So before we go into the discussions and the topic for today, I wanted to first do my acknowledgements here. So first and foremost, obviously, His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada, who translated the literature into English language. Without his translations, I would have never put my hands on the amazing and the wonderful literature that we have from India. I'd also like to express my thanks to Vaisheshika Das Prabhu, who is my spiritual master, for nurturing me for the last 15-16 years in this path of bhakti. Also, my acknowledgements to the various ISKCON acharyas from which I have also been learning the shastras in addition to from my spiritual master. I'd also like to acknowledge and thank my Prabhu, Rakesh Prabhu, sitting there, for patiently bearing with me and my schedules and driving me everywhere. He jokingly calls himself the Uber driver. And then, of course, Vikas Prabhu and Shipra Mataji for opening their home and their heart. So let's give them a round of applause here. And also to all of you participants to come here, because Krishna is not possible without the participants in the audience. So let's give a round of applause. You made a decision that today's class is going to cover is going to talk about decisions and actions like that. So the topic for today's class is, who is in charge? Is it our destiny or is it our free will that with which we can control the outcome, or is it God who is in charge of all of our lives? So I'll start with a story from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, which is a very famous story of, the Gajendra Moksham story. So Gajendra was an elephant king. He had a herd of wives, all beautiful. And then he was roaming around in the Gandhamandam, like a Gir forest or, Gandhamandam mountains. So it's not like it is, the Appalachian Mountains here or the Swiss mountains or Alpine mountains. It's not there. He was roaming there in the upper and higher planetary system with his wives, and they were a special swagger to his walk because he was the king, so kings know how to walk like that. And then they came across a nice, beautiful lake, and then he goes into the lake with his wives, and they are playing water sports together. So everything is going nice. So when the going goes good, this is what life is for us, right? And then it's not always the same, right? So sometimes then we have reversals that happen in our lives. And the reversal that happened in the case of Gajendra was that he was in the waters and there was a crocodile, and the crocodile came and caught hold of his foot. Now, as far as these animal species go, a crocodile is very powerful in the water, is not very powerful. If you pull a crocodile, put them into the land, is not much use there. But for the elephant, it's exactly the opposite. So Gajendra was actually fighting a losing battle there. So these kind of things happen with us all the time. We do have reversals in our life, whatever we plan. So can we talk about some reversals that you might have faced in your life and you're willing to share on the internet? Do we have a microphone to go around, or do I repeat the answers? You have one? Okay, that'll be helpful.
I can just remember losing my job one day.
Losing
I
the job?
was not prepared for it, and suddenly I was called and told because it was a reason. That was like a long time back, but yes, that was something I can remember.
And we will come back and talk about that reversal, Shamlangi, because it's a very interesting thing. I remember that. Incident when that happened. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else? Any other reversals?
So,
क्या हुआ? वॉल्यूम को क्या हुआ? मिटाइए इसको.
4 months back, I decided that I want to change my role.
आवाज आ नहीं रही है. कुछ तो लग रहा है. आ रही है? I mean, like how you sound, like how I sound on a mic, you're not sounding like that.
you can speak without.
Yeah, you can speak and I'll repeat. The only reason I'm insisting on the mic is there are audience on the
Yeah,
internet. They won't be
yes.
able to hear if she doesn't speak on the mic.
ये बैटरी का प्रॉब्लम है क्या? हमारी बैटरी शायद नहीं.
You want to know?
Oh, you can say and she can repeat.
Yeah, I will
That's
repeat,
the
yeah.
easiest.
So 4 months ago, Preeti Mataji changed her job. Role.
Changed
Okay.
my role.
Role in the same
And
job, same
before
company.
that, I've been working on my previous role for 2 years. I've been working on my previous role for 4 years, and it was like not exciting for me to. I was not looking up to go to work because it was very monotonous, and I was done with it. Like I mean, like nothing new to do, and I'm a person who always looks forward to do something new. So I started looking up for new roles, and I kind of gave an indication to my previous manager that I think I'm looking for a new role, and you should also start finding my replacement. And that was a kind of putting myself on the spot and trying to tell them that you have to find someone in as a replacement for me. So and then what happened is I started interviewing for roles. I applied for almost like 10 roles within the organization. I was interviewing for 6 roles, and for 3 roles I was moving fast. So, and then, I just left the whole decision on Krishna that I'm doing my best. I prepared my resume, I started interviewing, I was giving my best every single day. And 2 months down the line, I was selected for 2 roles. One role was offered to me before the second role was announced. So I just accepted the first role, but the second role was even more interesting. But then because I had accepted the first role, I just moved on with that. But after accepting that role, I realized that I was in such a spot where I had given an ultimatum to my manager that I'm moving on and finding new role. And I didn't know whether things will work in my favor or not. But I was giving my best, and I was giving my 100%, and I was just praying. I knew that something will work out, and it worked out, and there are no regrets. So I think the learning from this is that full surrender. I'm not saying that I was 100% surrendering, but there were times when I was thinking, if this doesn't work, then what will happen? But I think that was my learning, that if we just surrender and we give our best, something really good happens.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. It takes a lot to share that. Yeah, appreciate it. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Anybody else would like to share?
I'll share. I find that especially in relationships, especially when you get close to someone and both a combination of what we expect from them and what they end up doing, there's a gap. And the more you're close to somebody, the moment you notice a gap, it's actually more binary. You go from loving to not exactly hating, but as opposite to it as possible.
Reversal.
So that's the reversal I see most, which but then makes you feel like, do you want to maintain that distance? Do you want to be that close? It could be our own fault from expectations, whatever.
Yeah,
With
sure, very
relationships.
true. Yeah, so as long as the going is going good, I think I'll have to switch off that. Yeah, as long as the going is good, I'm just trying to see how do I advance my slide. How do I advance my slide is what I'm trying to see. As long as the going is good, then we don't care, right? Gajendra was there, he was enjoying with his wife and all that, we don't care. But when bad things start happening to us, our immediate reaction at that point is, why is Krishna doing this to me? Right? It's a very natural thing. Most of us say that. Why is Krishna doing that to me? So we have to remember one thing and something to think about, not here, but after the class is over, later on when you're back home, that Krishna is not doing things to us. He's actually doing things for us. Right? And so if you go back and look at the picture, as soon as I can advance it, yeah. So there was Gajendra, and he and the crocodile fought the war for a very long time. They fought for about 10,000 years. Now, this is from a different yuga, so people used to live for such a long time. And after fighting, and he was literally getting very tired. And at that time, he also noticed that the wives with whom he was having fun a little while ago, they were not able to help him. They were just helplessly looking at that. So whatever we might think are our assets, they're not helpful when you're really in a dire situation. And then from Krishna from within his heart inspired him. And he remembered, now this Gajendra was actually King Indradyumna in his previous life. So he remembered the prayers that he had done. And he prays. And so you can imagine, what prayer can you do when your foot is being caught by a crocodile, right? Now, as Vaishnavi Prabhu always says that, there's a crocodile in all of our foot, everybody has got a crocodile there. So anyway, with that in mind, and he's got an elephant body now. It's also not very conducive for doing prayers. But anyway, what he does, as you can see in the picture, is that he picks up that he breaks a lotus flower. He's in the lake, and he offers it to Krishna. And as soon as Krishna sees that prayer, then Krishna rushes and and he goes and saves him. So Krishna does do things for us. Sometimes it might take a little time, and we don't see that. So okay, somebody has joined the call here. So closer home, we talked about some of the setbacks, and you listed some. Being laid off from work, I think, is the trending trending setback these days, right? Not getting a promotion you expected, right? Failing a class or an exam, that's also one. Losing money in a business or investment or stocks or wherever, bitcoins or gold bars or wherever people invest these days, right? Going through a divorce, you talked about relationships or a painful relationship breakup. So that's one thing. And then having an accident or having a health issue, right, that interrupts your normal life. So then when we face a dilemma like that, right, I lost my job, what should I do now? Yeah. So there is a dilemma that goes on in my mind that what should I do? Should I keep at it? Like Preeti applied for 10 jobs. And if she had not gone any of the 10 jobs, what should you have done? Should I go back to my manager and say, okay, I'm back? Or should I apply for 10 more? Right? So that's the dilemma that we have. Should I keep at it or should I just let it go? Right? That's a decision that we all need to make. So let it go, I'm just surrendered. I'm thinking it's destiny. I was not supposed to get it. So that's what it is. Just bear with me. There are some people joining the Zoom calls. I'm going to let them in. Okay. So one question that you're going to ask is that, is it my destiny? Or, should I try to control it, control the situation, do something about it? And most of the times we are told that why are you so complacent? Why are you just laid back? I mean, the Hindu culture, or they use the word Hindu, Vedic literature culture is that, you're so laid back, you should be a go-getter, you should try to get it, you should fight, that's the general message that we get. And so let's look at the word control and, what kind of controls do we have or do we do generally? So I just picked up a few from here, the types of controls. I know we do a lot of controls and, wife trying to control the husband, husband trying to control the wife, kids trying to control the children, parents trying to control the children, kids trying to control the parents, teenagers, all sorts, manager, all that. But anyway, so for example, one part about controlling is that you exercise or restrain, you put a restraining or a directing influence over something. For example, you want to control your anger. Somebody did something to you, somebody did not behave properly with you, somebody, you were expecting them to do something, they didn't do it, right? So there's that emotions that is going on inside. So controlling anger means that you're controlling that emotions that are coming up. So that's one control that you do, right? Then another one is, you have a power over something, right? Like a puppeteer controls the puppets, like that. The Maya controls all of us here. So power. For example, I mean, those of you who watch the stock market and, the company politics, like, okay, this company is dominating, whatever. Tesla is dominating, whatever, it's like that. And then second is that, you check or limit or curb something. That is control your temper. So what's the difference between controlling your anger and controlling your temper, right? So controlling your anger, Hare Krishna, controlling your anger is the emotions that have come. So controlling it at that level itself, that the emotion itself doesn't come to you. So you have to be a Mahatma to do that, right? And the third role that I'm talking about is to control the anger, which is how do you react when you are angry? What are some of the ways that we react when we are angry?
Yeah, shout.
We yell, we shout, yes? Yeah. So like that, so controlling that, the reaction to the anger that has come in, right? Then you reduce the severity or incidence of something, right? I want to control the blood sugar. I want to control the insect population. I want to control the rabbit population, like that. So that's also control that you do. Then also sometimes when you operate something, the aircraft control, From there, they're controlling the movement of the airplane, the movement of the rocket, satellites, and all that. So there's control there that also happens, right? Another control is that there's a problem and you see and you deal with that problem successfully, right? So that's also you're controlling the situation. The fire was brought under the control, and pretty soon we'll be hearing about fire in Los Angeles and how they are struggling with it like that, right? And then also in the science, we hear a lot about that this was a controlled experiment. So there's some controlling, you fix some parameters and you do the testing there. So, I mean, depending on our jobs and depending on our situation, we do a lot of these things. But today we deal with the problem successfully, because that's what we're talking about, right? That's what happened to Gajendra also. He had a problem in his hand, right? And so do we have. We all have a crocodile on our feet, right? And so when I'm situated, when I'm over there, so facing a problematic situation in life, then I can do multiple things. One is that I just surrender to destiny and I say, okay, this is what it is, I let it go, right? The second option is that, no, I have my free will, and then I will try to control whatever is happening. I'll try to control, bring it back, and successfully control and do that, right? So then we use the word free will a lot. So let's look at, what exactly is free will. Ideally, I would have wanted participants to read these definitions. I don't know whether the mic is working. Do you want to try? There's another mic? Okay. Ooh, good. Doom, doom.
Yeah.
Since you have the mic in your hand. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Free will. Free will is the ability to make choices on your own rather than being forced or completely determined by outside causes. In simple terms, it means you can decide among different possible actions, like choosing what to say, do, or believe.
Right. So you have been exercising your free will lately? Never, ever, always?
To the extent possible.
To the extent possible. Good, right? So then a little bit of a Shastric terms over here regarding free will. So free will is also sometimes called as Kriyamana Karma, right? Or Purushartha, right? And so actually, what is free will? Free will is a power that you have in the present moment. Okay? So free will in the present moment, whatever you want to choose. So free will is all about choices. I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this, I want to do that, like that, right? So your actions, how do you react, right? Your attitude towards certain things and the responses there. So you have been exercising free will, and as Prabhu mentioned, that to the extent possible, we do that to the extent possible, right? So there are some constraints on my free will. I'm not all that free as I might wish for or might think that I am, right? So let's get from you, what are some of the constraints that you think that are there in the free will, in exercising the free will, in exercising your free will? Let's start with some areas where we would like to exercise your free will, and then we can talk about constraints in those areas. So,
Senses or mind overpowering your
say it on the microphone, Shiva, because the audience will not hear.
senses or mind overpowering your free will.
Senses or mind overpower your feelings. So you want to, for example, you want to sit down and chant the japa, right? And you wanted to do that, but something is constraining you. The mind is going here and there and not coming under your control. Okay, good. What else? Anything that you want to do in life, and there are constraints, right? Kids, who are your constraining factors?
I was thinking like you buy a plane ticket using a free will and then the plane gets delayed or just cancelled.
There you go, right? So you're constrained by your desire that I'm going to board the plane at 8 a.m. or 8 p.m. is constrained. You're dependent on somebody else, okay? So I put together some of the constraints. So there are physical constraints that you will have. For example, I want to run the marathon and I broke my foot, right? So broken leg or there sickness is there, or there's some distance. I really want to go and hug my mom, but my mom is in India, something like that, right? It can't be there next to my near and dear ones like that. Okay. Then there can also be some social constraints that are there that will prevent you from doing whatever that you want. It could be pressure that comes from the family. I might want to wear certain things, I want to go about, but maybe I'm born in a Muslim family, I have to put the parda, all that kind of stuff is there, right? And then there are also certain cultural expectations are there. The culture expects, like, oh, you're doing that, oh no, Matajis don't do it, or vice versa, you're cooking, you Prabhu, why are you cooking? So like that, you might want to do certain things, but there could be certain constraints which will prevent you from doing that, right? There could also be some psychological constraints that you have. For example, you might be having some addictions because of which you might not be able to do that. You could be having anxiety. You could be having at that time, you could be, emotionally constrained there, right? Or it could just be a habit that I'm a lazy bum and I don't know how to do that, right? Then practical constraints can also come, right? Like the goal is 100,008 Śrīmad-Bhāgavatams, and I just want to sponsor all of them. I don't have the money, right? So that could be a constraint on the free will. So although we might want to do certain things, we're not able to do the things here. So we feel that almost like a horse that is tied to a rope, right? So the horse is tied to a rope, so the constraint is there, right? But the horse can look at the rope and then stand still in that place and say that I have been tied to the tree. I can't do anything. Right? Or the horse can say, okay, it's a 50 feet rope. I will just go to at least to 50 feet and I will graze. Okay. So when these constraints are on us, we are able to exercise our free will. I want to eat some grass. Okay, you can eat some grass, but only within the 50 feet radius. You can only do that, right? So the free will similarly is also constrained for us. Not everything is 100% in our control and we can do that. So, so those are my free will, but then free will versus destiny. I want to do certain things. Is destiny controlling you? So let's look at what destiny also is. And there are various definitions of destiny that we find, and we look at it from the Shastric perspective as well. So destiny means, what does destiny means? That the future. Means that the future, whatever is the future, is believed to be already set for us. Okay, our future is destined. It's meant to happen. That's what people will say, right? Sometimes they also use it. They use the terms fate and destiny as the same. There's a subtle difference between them. Fate is actually sometimes used in a omnious term also. For example, a person boards the flight and the plane crashes. That was your fate, right? Like that. And when it comes to destiny, destiny is usually something that you work towards. Okay? You're going to do that. For example, when you see the kids in the school, excellent in mathematics or excellent in biology, and the teacher will say, oh, he's working so hard, he's destined to become a doctor, or he's destined to become an engineer, something like that, right? So destiny is something, it's going to happen in the future because of certain things that a person is working on. And so it's more like a prediction that's going to happen there. Okay? In Hindi, the destiny term, there are so many terms used for destiny here. Niyati is there, bhagya, prārabdha, more from the scriptures, Urdu, takdir, or kismat. Yeah? So those are the terms that we use. Uski to kismati puri, and to kismati puri. People say that. That is what they mean. But we have to remember one thing when it comes to destiny, is that what destiny is not. Okay? Because to us, otherwise, destiny appears to be something in the dark, something that's going to happen. I have absolutely no control over it. I have no idea when it's going to hit me, which is true. And so what destiny is not. So first thing is that destiny is not a mysterious force. We can go and read our Shastras, and we can understand all we want to understand about destiny and how it plays a role in our lives. So it's not a mysterious force. It is also not a malevolent force. It's not a bad force that does bad things to you. It's not that. Destiny is also not that, right? Also, destiny is not something arbitrary. It's not an arbitrary controller that, somebody is there controlling and somebody is doing bad things to me. Very rarely good things to me, never, but good things to me like that. So destiny is not that. Okay? So we look at it from the Bhagavad-gītā angle because that's the only angle that we know are Shastric angles. So in Bhagavad-gītā, the Bhagavad-gītā actually brings in the concept of karma. And through the concept of karma, Bhagavad-gītā is actually bringing in the concept of individual responsibilities. Now, 16, 17 years ago, when I came across the Bhagavad-gītā for the first time in my life, which was Bhagavad-gītā as it is from Srila Prabhupada, first time in my life with that Bhagavad-gītā. Prior to that, I had read, I am from UP, so there were 3 or 4 copies of Bhagavad-gītā in my home from Gita Press, Gorakhpur, there you go, right? And nobody touched it, you know, it was there, it was in the books, nicely in the shelf, reverential, and all that, but never opened and read it. I opened it and read it on when my mom was on her deathbed, and she was in coma, and I knew that even when you are in coma, the soul can still hear. So I said, okay, let me recite the Bhagavad-gītā. I recited all the 18 chapters of Bhagavad-gītā. It was in Hindi. And after that, a few hours after that, my mom passed away. And I did not understand a single word of it. I did not retain a single word of the Bhagavad-gītā recitation that I did, right? It was only 9 years later that Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad-gītā as it is came to my life. And it was such a revealing book for me. I sat with it for 1 week, and in 1 week, I was a totally transformed person to the extent that Rakesh Prabhu started saying that, why are you not fighting like that? Because, see, and what was coming in, what was glaring to me was individual responsibility that Bhagavad-gītā places the emphasis on. Because for me, I was a victim, complete victim of everybody, you know, my parents, my siblings, my in-laws, my manager, everybody was so against me. The whole world was against me. And I had no idea why they are doing such a thing to such a wonderful person. So, it's only when I started reading Srila Prabhupada's books and Srila Prabhupada started explaining, and as I read that, and I used to be so argumentative, confirmed. And and that is that I then started realizing that the problem is not with them, the problem is actually with me. And then when I realized that the problem is with me, I was like, oh boy, I'm really cornered. I'm 47 years old at that time. And what am I doing with my life? So I said, better hurry up and do something about it. So because I realized it was my responsibility to do certain things and I was not doing them. So Bhagavad-gītā emphasizes on that it is your responsibility. Otherwise, what was Arjuna doing? He was shirking his responsibility. He was a Kshatriya. He was saying, no, it's better, you know, I just, you know, live by begging and all that kind of stuff he was saying. He was not doing his duty, right? So that is one thing Bhagavad-gītā tells you. And the second thing that Bhagavad-gītā tells is that our actions do matter. Whatever our actions are. It could be a simple action, it could be a small action, it could be a known action, it could be a good action, it could be a bad action, right? They will have an influence, and they will influence our future as well. So we have to be extremely careful of what we do, right? And actions are not just doing something with your hands. Actions are also something that you do with your tongue. So one of the things that we can promise ourselves is to be careful with our tongue today, right? So what are 2 things that a tongue does? It speaks. That's all? Tastes, yeah. So anyway, I'll be easy on the second part because we have dinner today that Chukramataji has arranged so lovingly. So, but we'll focus on what you speak, right? It's extremely important. And not only what you speak to somebody like that, but also what I speak to somebody else about somebody. That's very, very important. That's called prajalpa. And we should try to avoid prajalpa there. And then, of course, Bhagavad-gītā tells us about the law of karma, right? What is the law of karma? We always ask that in book distribution. We have been trained to ask that question. And if they don't answer, then what? Usually if you go out on the road and ask somebody, what is the law of karma? Most of them know it, actually. I was very surprised when I came to USA, they know it. They'll say, what goes around comes around. Correct, right? What goes around comes around. It basically means if you do good, good will come back. If you do bad, bad will come back, right? And also one of the laws of karma to remember is that it's not like a canceling thing. It doesn't cancel. So good karma doesn't cancel the bad karma. It adds up. You know, only some of the bad karmas can be canceled, but they stay, right? So we have to remember that. So karmic reactions, I did something to somebody will react to that, right? So whatever goes around, comes back. I go and slap somebody, somebody will slap back. I shout at my spouse, he'll shout back. Immediate reaction, karma cancel, right? Now, if you shout back again, now you're starting a new chain, right? So, and that can stay forever, right? The chain and karmic reactions can go on like that. So that is karma that you have exhausted. Right? Somebody did something to you, you retaliated, you're even now, right? Cancel. But then there is a lot of karma which is unprocessed, right? For example, you didn't come to my daughter's marriage. Okay, I won't come when your daughter is married. So now this karma has to wait for the daughter to be married, and the daughter doesn't get married. That's it. And I have to wait for another lifetime. Like that, right? So there is karma that gets accumulated. And so there is Bank of America, Bank of Chicago and all this. There's a Bank of Karma as well, where all these karmic reactions are sitting there, waiting for us, to. It is also sometimes analogies that people use is that of a water tank. So it's water that you're putting in it, and from a tank, the water is going to flow. So just be assured that, if you're creating karma, it's going to flow back at us, right? Good or bad, either is going to come back to us, right? Now, bad karma is bad, we know, and we should avoid bad karma, but why should we avoid good karma? Philosophically. What's the harm of doing all good karma? What's bad about it? It's good karma. Good is going to come back to me. What's wrong with that?
You're still stuck in the cycle.
You're still stuck in the cycle. What's your name, Adli? Alka? Beautiful. So yeah, you're still stuck in the cycle. So because to suffer the reactions of a bad karma or to enjoy the results of a good karma, you have to come to this material world. Okay, so we can say, okay, that's fine. I'm going to come to the material world. It's going to be a party for me. But the moment you come to this material world, there are chances of you creating more bad karma or good karma also, and then come back again, right? So that's the cycle. It's called Upariya Ada. You keep on going from higher planets to lower planets like the Ferris wheel. You keep on just repeating, right? Sometimes karma analogies is like karma is like a bottle or a big jar of green balls and red balls. And you would have guessed, what is green ball and what is a red ball, right? Good karma and the bad karma. So now let's see how we look at destiny from the perspective of Bhagavad-gītā, right? We talked about karma. So now, destiny, if you look at our Shastra, is a stockpile, right? It's a stockpile of unprocessed karma from our previous lives. So many lives, right? Into our present life. For example, when Duryodhana lost all his 100 sons in the battle of Kurukshetra, he was having a conversation with Krishna later, and he said, Krishna, why were my 100 sons killed? So then Krishna said, you know what, like 50, 60 births ago, you had, killed the children of a bird or something like that. And then similarly, he had asked, why was I born blind? And he had done something in his past, poked somebody's eyes and all that kind of stuff. So then he asked Krishna, why did I have to wait for 50 years for this? Why didn't the karmic reaction not happen instantly to me, right? Correct. So then he said that you had to wait for 50 years to collect enough good karma to be able to have 100 sons who will ultimately get killed. So you see how vicious this is, right? So it's a stockpile of karma from our previous lives, and it comes into our present life. So in Bhagavad-gītā 8th chapter, Arjun asked 7 or 8 questions in the beginning, right in the beginning of chapter 8. Kim tadbhram, kim adhyatmam, kim karma, kim karma purushottama, adhibhutam cha kim praktam, adhidevam kim uchyate, adhiyagnya katham kotra, devesmin madhusudana, priyana kale cha katham, gevasi nyatadmavi. So he's asking, what is Brahma, what is karma, what is adhiyagya, what is adhibhuta, and all that.
Yeah, I just had one question. If good karma, isn't if good karma isn't necessarily a good thing, then what's the best approach to take? If obviously bad karma will mean bad things will come back to you, and good karma is not good either, what approach should you take?
Very, very good question. And that is going to take us to a higher level. So the good karma, bad karma, we are hovering on the material plane. So when we come to a level where these karmic reactions do not impact us, that level is known as a transcendental level, right? For example, Arjuna, right? He didn't want to kill people, but ultimately he killed all of them, right? And so did he get a karmic reaction for that? No. Why? Because he was doing it for Krishna. So if you get into the mood that whatever I need to do, whatever I'm doing, I will do it for Krishna. Then Bhagavad-gītā 9th chapter says, Yat karoshi, yat ashnasi, yat juhosi dadasi. Yes, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer, whatever you give away, do it as an act for Krishna. Do it for Krishna. So when you do things for Krishna, then this bad reaction, good reactions, you are above that. You have risen yourself to a higher planet. But very good question. Keep them coming. So it's a stockpile, right? And so when he asked, like, kim tadbham, kim adhyatmam, kim karma purushottama. So he says, what is karma? And I was very surprised. I was thinking he'll talk about people do work and you get reactions and all that. Krishna answers immediately, in the very next chance that he gets to answer in that chapter. He says that which leads to the development of bodies is called karma. That's karma, right? Now, so this stockpile of karma that we're saying, right? It determines your situations. Situations means where you are going to be situated. And who are you? You are a soul. So where the soul is going to be situated, number one, and then what's going to happen around that soul after it's been situated, wherever it needs to be situated. So it is our destiny that is going to define our karmic reactions are going to define your birth, in whose home you're going to born. A king or a pauper or American or Indian on higher planets, lower planets, like that. What race you're going to have, what kind of a body you're going to have, what's the color of your skin you're going to have. All that is destined. You cannot change it per se. You can't divorce your parents, right? Can you? Right? You have no say on that. So this is what destiny is. But remember that after the destiny puts you in a particular situation, you have the free will. You have the free will to do and to react to that situation. Okay? Having put into this, right? Krishna says to Arjuna that now that you have come here, dukkhalaya shasvatam, imam bhajasvamam, he said, now that you know that I'm cornered, bhajasvamam, just do devotional service to me. He says that, right? So then there's this verse from Bhagavad-gītā, I just wanted to bring up over here, where it's talking about how the soul is situated in the body, which is like a yantra. It's like a machine. Okay? Rantarunani mayaya. So Ishvara sarva bhutani, hirteshe Arjun tishtati, says telling Arjuna that Ishwar, the controller, which is Krishna, I'm situated in everyone's heart. Right? And Brahmayam sarva bhutani. And what happens is the bhutani, us, the souls, what we're doing, we are also inside that body, and we're moving here and there. Like that, right? How am I moving? Just as a person seated on a yantra, sitting on a machine would move. Okay, so now if destiny has put me in a particular yantra, that's what it's going to decide, right? This body is also a yantra, it moves, it's a machine, right? So you will decide how you're going to drive the car that you see. Right? So don't just think that, oh, I have been given this body. What can I do? I have this complexion. What can I do? Get pimples on my face. It is destined. No, you can still do something about it. Like that, right? So it's entirely up to you. That decision-making power is yours. And then don't blame Krishna for where I was born. Don't blame Krishna that I was born in a poverty-ridden family, or whatever family, what sort of parents I got, or whatever. Don't blame Krishna for that. Take the responsibility that it is a stockpile of our karmic reactions, right? Who I got married to, who I gave birth to, all that kind of stuff is all our karmic reactions. Ankit, go ahead on the microphone.
So at some point, or at one point in Matrasparshastha Kanteya verse, Krishna says, Tamstitikshva Subhava. So you have to tolerate. Yes. On another point, he says, Yasmat Yuddhasva Bharata. Go fight.
Mamanusmara Yuddhacha, yeah.
And so in those two cases, so for us, practically, whether we tolerate or we take an action towards solving the problem, how do we practically
do that? I will touch upon that because I think that is something that we all face all the time. So hold on to the question. Excellent question. And sometimes people are too tolerant And they're like, no, don't become a doormat. You don't have to be a tolerant person. So how we can take help, who can help, and how should be our approach? We'll talk about that towards the end of the session. But yeah, good question. So destiny gave you a car, and in your life now you have to drive the car on the road. There'll be bumps that'll come. It's up to you. How do you handle the bumps? You want to fly over the bumps and then your head goes and hits the roof of the car, or you want to slow down because there's a bump? It's entirely up to you, right? The tolerating the bumps on the road. Then you will make a decision and a judicious decision at the right time there. So then, how do I decide? How do I decide whether I should let go or whether I should take control of this, right? Same thing here. So use your intelligence. So we have been given the intelligence by Krishna. Okay, we should learn how to use it or to practice how to use the intelligence. So one of the things, the difference between our mind and the intelligence is that mind is a factory of thoughts. It'll just produce thoughts for you, and intelligence has the power to discriminate between those thoughts. This is a good thought, this is a bad thought, this is a good action, bad action, and so on and so forth. So use your intelligence to discriminate whether this is good, this is bad, this is harmful, this is, desirable, not desirable, this is beneficial for me, not beneficial for me. So that thought process has to be done. For example, I am the head of a family and I lost my job. I applied to 25 jobs, I did not get any job. Should I stop applying for a job? Right? So we have to use our intelligence to see, what situation of my life am I on? Are there people who are dependent on me? How am I going to take care of the dependents? I mean, Prabhupada also made sure that his family was taken care of before he took sannyas and then left, everything like that. So we have to make sure that we take care of our intelligence, make use of intelligence. And then when we try to get something, maybe a job or win the lottery or win the hand of a beautiful maiden in marriage or whatever we wanted, right? Relationship. When we don't get it, then we have to be mindful of our thought process there. One thought process could be, I lost it. It was a game, I lost it. Second thought process is that when you are identifying so much with that situation that you're saying, I am lost, which is worse, right? So objective, I am lost. Objective, I lost it. Subjective, I am lost. And the third and the worst thing is that I am a loser, right? Because that'll definitely put a stop to anything that you're going to do, right? I'm a loser, I'm a no good, I'm not a good person. These people will have anxieties, mental problems, could even commit suicide. Right? So when these things are happening, there's a verse from Bhagavad-gītā. I think most of you are familiar, so you can sing along with me, right? Prakritehe kriyamanani gune karmani sarvashaha ahankara vimudhatma kartaham iti manyate. So the spirit soul, right, which is in the body, bewildered by the influence of false ego, thinks himself the doer of the activities that are in actuality carried out by the three modes of material nature. So I might think that I'm doing it, like sitting in that beautiful car that I showed you. I might think that I press the button and in mind, I'm driving the car, driving the car. There's a whole mechanics and the whole physics that was put into it and the gas or electricity, whatever was put into it. And that is making the car run. Of course, you are a part of it, you press the button, but the car is not running just because of yourself, right? And the modes of material nature, right? Rajoguna, Tamoguna, Sattoguna, like that. So in this material world, there are laws of material world. If you bring hydrogen and you bring oxygen together, you put some pressure, what happens? You get water. It's a law of material nature. It's going to happen. Okay? So we have to keep that in mind that sometimes, you do this, you do that. And I'm thinking, I am the doer, I am the doer, I am doing it. And when it doesn't get done, then I am a loser. Right? So we should not be thinking that. So let's explore that a little bit more. So I'm not the doer, and the question is then who am I? And they're like, I'm confused. I thought I was doing everything. I was the wife, I was the cook, I was the manager, I was the software engineer, whatever, right? I'm just thinking, I am the person who's doing everything. So who am I then? So then Bhagavad-gītā chapter 2 comes to our rescue in telling us who we are. The 2 verses I picked up from there, and we can all recite it together. Nasato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate svataha, ubhayor api drishtontas, tvayano tattvadarshanavihi. Anybody wants to read while I grab some water? With the mic. I like the drum sound that it is producing. Doom, doom, doom.
Those who are seers of the truth.
Mic is not working though. Yeah.
Okay, those who are seers of the truth have concluded that of the non-existent, the material body, there is no endurance, and of the eternal, the soul, there is no change. This they have concluded by studying the nature of both.
This they have concluded by studying the nature of both. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for reading that. And this is an interesting thing, and it's also sometimes we do that in science also, right? We will study this, we'll study that also. So what they're saying is that those who have seen the truth, the self-realized souls, right? After they have studied both the material world and they have also studied the soul, right? So they are saying that of the soul endures, soul stays on forever. And on the other hand, they're also saying the body will definitely perish. It doesn't endure forever. Okay? Do you feel good? Right? So you are the soul, you're not the body. So what if you did not win that cricket match? Or what if you did not win that race? All those things have to do with the body. We have to think about the soul. So don't think I'm a loser. And then what do they say? And of the eternal the soul, there is no change. So you can't say, oh, I was a fantastic guy and then I lost this particular tender and I'm a loser now. It's a faulty thinking. Because you are a soul, the soul does not change like that through these material interactions. That's good news for us, right? Let's continue. Najayate mriyate va kadachin nayam bhutva bhavita vana bhuyaha ajo nityaha shashvato yam purano naharyate hanyamane sharire. This was one of the verses that Prabhupada quotes a lot, used to quote a lot. And who's Sutika now? Who's going to give us the translation for this? Anybody close to the mic wants to tell us?
For the soul, there is neither birth nor death at any time. He has not come into being, does not come into the being, and will not come into being. He is unborn, eternal, ever existing, and primeval. He is not slain when the body is slain.
Is when the body is slain, right? So this is such good news for us, right? That for us, we are going to live forever. It's not like, just imagine if soul was also to die, how life would be, right? So there's so much of hope here. And then we talked about the karma, right? We talked about the law of karma. And then when Arjun asked Krishna, what is karma? What did Krishna say? What is karma? Krishna said something. Yeah, go ahead. What did he say? Can you tell us louder? Don't be shy. I'll repeat it, yeah. Okay. Anybody else wants to say? Yeah. So Krishna said, yeah. Right? The one that leads to the development of the body is karma. And you are not the body. So destiny places you in your body, but you're not the body. Right? Keep that in mind. Then when we talk about destiny and we get overwhelmed with destiny, you remember that I am beyond the destiny. And any of the biology that is related to the destiny, am I Gajendra the elephant? Am I who the crocodile who was biting him? Am I Shraddha, the lady? Who exactly am I, right? You're not bound by that biology or the psychology of it. I'm stupid and beautiful and this and that, like that. So that's something that we need to keep in mind when we're handling. But then the question is that, okay, but there is a crocodile on my leg. And I'm under this influence of false ego, and I do think that I'm this body. So what am I supposed to do? Right? How do I get the inspiration to continue on in whatever destiny is giving out to me? And should I tolerate it or should I do something about it? What do I do this way or that way? So that dilemma and that thing is there. So the question that you ask is that, am I in harmony? First thing we ask is that, am I in harmony with what has been dealt to me? Am I in harmony with that? So when will that harmony come? For me, that harmony came after Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavad-gītā came into my life. Before that, there was no harmony because I don't have this, I don't have that, that person has it, there, yeah. It was continuously happening, right? But when I realized that whatever I have, and more importantly, whatever I don't have, is because of my own doing, right? Then I became harmonious with what I was dealt with. I understood it. So it's very important for us to ask that question that, are you in harmony? Of what has been, and it's not necessary that we will be in harmony in the first go. But then the question is, how do I get into that harmonious position, right? Because immediate reaction is to, do something about it. So then the question is that we ask is that, is everything in your control? Is everything in your control, do you think? No? Okay, wise people. So destiny, now we're going to look at it from the Bhagavad-gītā perspective. We have been looking at it now. So from the Bhagavad-gītā perspective, the best answer is that your present circumstances are shaped by the past karma, but your present choices, they still matter greatly. So it's all about your choices. The Gita is not going to teach you passive fatalism, just go passive, die. But it teaches responsible actions, but without attachment to the results. So as I'm going about fixing it, I'm like, I want to fix it. It's going to be fixed by 5 o'clock today. You do your work, right? Karmanevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana, right? So you have a right to perform your duty, but not to look at the results of the duty. Leave it to Krishna, like that. Then towards the end of Bhagavad-gītā, when you come to 18th chapter, when Krishna has told Arjuna everything, so he's saying in 18.63, he says, deliberate on this fully. Deliberate, the word deliberate comes from the word libra. Libra is what? What is the sign of Libra? The balance, right? So deliberating is about balance. So balance basically is saying you look at the pros and you look at the cons and you balance it out. Which is better? Are the pros better? If the pros are better, I'll go for it. If the cons are better. So Ankit, to partially answer your question when we are there, what are the pros and cons of titikshva, of tolerating something, right? Like if I have a subordinate and I tolerate the subordinate all the time, maybe not good. If I have a boss that is not good to me, I might tolerate, but in parallel, I might look for another job like that, right? So it could be a short-lived thing as well. So deliberate on this fully and then do what you wish to do. He says that, right? Yatha chitteshu tatha kuru. Whatever you like, you do. So now this line where Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is given this free will to Arjuna to do whatever he wants to do, right? So this line is supporting that there are choices available for human beings that you can do that, right? But then, you have to still place that choice. Ultimately, whatever choice that you make, you place that choice in the context of a divine order being in place. Let's just don't say that I am the monarch of all I survey. I will do whatever I like. I don't care. I have money, I have riches, I have strength, I have this and that. No, right? So in the context of a larger divine order, we will do everything what we do. Yat karoshi yat ashnasi. In keeping Krishna in our mind, and also Krishna's thing that I am doing it, but the results are in Krishna's hand to give us or not to give us, right? So that changes our mood a lot and lets us handle, right? So free will, I just mentioned that earlier thing. So prakriti kriya manani, karmani sarvasa, we talked about that, right? Now, Krishna also says in Bhagavad-gītā, he explains all that, but he also says something very important to Arjuna. He says, Tam eva sharanam gaccha. Sharanam means surrender. So he go to under the surrender, go and surrender to him, Tam, that person, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sarva bhavena bharata, tat prasadat param shantim sthanam prapsasi shashvatam. This is something that we all are aiming for, we all want. And what is that? He's saying, oh, shine of Bharata. So, Bharat Rishabha. Right? He's saying, surrender unto him utterly. Utter surrender. Do we do utter surrender? right? We might surrender just a little bit. By his grace, you will attain transcendental peace and the supreme and eternal love. This is so funny. One of my friends, Ruchi, from many years ago, Rakhi will remember almost 20 years ago, we used to go. She used to have Bhakti Vriksha in her home in Fremont. And she had a very naughty daughter. And the daughter did something naughty. And she was a small girl. And she was mad at her and shouting. And she said, come here and sit on this table. Come here, come close to me. And she said, then the girl came and she sat on the table, dining table, and she sat like that. And she said, when I saw my daughter completely surrender, I could not do anything. Like, otherwise she would have given her a whack or two, I said, no, I could not do that. So when you surrender to Krishna, Krishna is a mother. Mata, Dhata, Pita, Maha, Krishna is a mother, right? So if you surrender to Krishna, his instincts, his motherly instincts will be arising in us. The problem is that we don't want to do that. Surrender to Krishna. We want to take things in our hand because we are controllers. And why do you want to take things in our hands? And why do you want to control? Is because Krishna is the supreme controller and we are part and parcels of Krishna. So because we are parts and parcels of Krishna, the tendency to control or the desire to control is in us also. Simple, right? So you can blame it on Krishna. Why you want to control, okay? But then again, he was saying that you do whatever you wish to do, I think. So now Krishna says, Prakirtiya kriyamana guna karmani sarvasha ahankara vimuratma karta hami manyate. Everything happens to the modes of material nature, and you are a stupid fool and you're thinking you're doing it, right? But now, just now he said, deliberate on this fully and you wish as you want to do. So now I'm confused. Am I supposed to do anything or am I not supposed to do anything, right? It's a controversial thing, appears to be a controversy, right? So let's just look a little bit further into the Bhagavad-gītā. So karmano hi api bodhavyam cha vikarmanaha akarmanascha bodhavyam gahana karmano gatihi. So the intricacies of action are very hard to understand. There will be, and sometimes you have to deliberate on. I've seen acharyas from ISKCON, they are in their discussions, in the discourses, they say that, yeah, I'm still studying it. And so far, I think the answer is this. And they'll study more, maybe they'll change the answer, maybe they'll embellish their answer, whatever it is, right? So these intricacies, these are very difficult to understand. And sometimes you might even go and ask, your teacher, and they might not have an answer because it is difficult. It's 4:17 says that, Gahana karma. It's very difficult to understand what is karma, what is vikarma, what is akarma, because it looks like somebody is doing such an abominable thing, but he's a devotee, she's a devotee, what am I supposed to do, right? So that's why in Bhagavad-gītā, Krishna tells Arjuna that the safe way, api chet sutaracharo bhaste mam ananya bhag sadhureva samantavya, right? If somebody is doing anything abominable, but if they are devotees, you consider them to be saints and you shut your mouth. Krishna will take care of it. If that person is genuinely doing something bad, Krishna will take care. The laws of material nature will take care of it. You don't poke your nose, right? Or cast sentences on others. And we also have to remember in Bhagavad-gītā where it says that the place of action, so it talks about this body is a place of action. And so whenever an action is done, where it says ahankara vimuratma karta hamiti manyate, that verse is saying that you are thinking you are the doer, but you are not, just not the soul who does it. So there are 5 factors to an action being performed. So there's the body, there's the senses, there's the soul, there's the work itself, and then there's a super soul who actually grants you the permission to do it, right? So we need to keep that in mind that I am not the doer. And my capability to be able to do anything, the sanction comes from Krishna. Krishna, not a blade of grass moves without the sanction of Krishna. This is a very important thing to keep in mind there, right? So I have been given this body, and because of my uncleared karmic reactions, and remember I said that the karmic reactions are stored in a tank. And when you get a body, it's only a subset from the tank that has been pulled out and our body has been created. There's more lying there in that big tank. So what something you have got, and then what else do you get, right? So Padma Purana actually talks very nicely about how your karmic reactions, the life cycle of a karmic reaction that you do. So let's sing this together. Prārabdha phalam papam Kutam bijam phalonmukham karmaneva praliyante Vishnu bhakti ratatmanam. So for those who are engaged in devotional service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whose hearts are attached to Vishnu bhakti ratatmanam, right? All sinful reactions, whether unfructified, dormant, seed-like, or about to bear fruit, are gradually destroyed in sequence. Okay, so there's a life cycle that they all go through. So let's look at that. I don't know what happened to this slide. They're coming out of order. Yeah. So here's the sequential flow. So again, when it comes to Ankit, to answer your question on what should I do? Should I react to this? Should I not react to this? And so on and so forth. Let me bring up the slideshow again. Then we have to use our intelligence to first and foremost understand why I am in this situation. What am I supposed to do? What is my duty? What is the ultimate good for mankind? Use your intelligence to that and also understand this sequential flow and what can I do about it, right? So from prārabdha, you go to kutam. From kutam, you go to bijam. Bijam, you go to phalonmukham. From phalonmukham, you go to prārabdha. Prārabdha is destiny. Okay. Now let's look at that a little bit into the details to understand these. The meaning. First, let's look at the meaning between prārabdha and aprārabdha. So aprārabdha is a karma for which it has begun or started. The reaction has started. Whatever reaction was supposed to be, right? So you enter into the womb of a peacock, peahen. It has started, right? So on aprārabdha, it has not yet begun. You have not started doing the karma. Yeah. State, it is manifesting now. So karma phal, you're bearing the fruit of that. Again, aprārabdha, it is still dormant. But there will be some future karma that's going to come from there, right? Timing of prārabdha karma. Timing is in this life. Okay? A prārabdha karma is for a future life. Sometimes it could even be a little later in your life. बुढ़ापे में पता चलेगा. You know, like you are a boxer, and when you become old, and you took so much dashes on your brain, and then you're old, that's it. You know? Then you start feeling the
karma that has not started? Already
reaction. Yeah. Then can it be changed? So prārabdha karma cannot be stopped. It has to be experienced. It's experienced as if it's an arrow. तीर तो निकल गया कमान में से. It's like, no, arrow has already left the bow. In some cases, even the prārabdha karma can be changed, and we'll talk about that. But the good thing is, a prārabdha karma, it can be destroyed before it matures. And that is completely in your hand, and that is what we should always be aiming for, right? Analogy, like I said, it's already an arrow. What it determines, prārabdha karma determines your body, your family, your birthplace, we'll all talk about that, right? And your initial life conditions. Because then you can change your destiny through your action, through your free will, keeping Krishna in mind, right? Prārabdha will determine aprārabdha will determine your future births, like that, right? Preventability. Can you prevent it? Is inescapable. Prārabdha karma is inescapable for ordinary persons. Unless you're a liberated person. If you're liberated, then there's no problem, because a liberated person knows he's not the body, and this prārabdha and all that has to do with body, right? So unless you're a liberated person, you will suffer the consequences right here. And aprārabdha is preventable through bhakti. Bitterness, suffering can be lessened by grace, but karma must be exhausted. It can only be lessened. And it can be completely destroyed if it is aprārabdha. And in the Padma Purana, as we read that verse, it's in the final stage. You're experiencing it now, and that's the first stage. Aprārabdha is the very first stage there. So in the karma life cycle, again, prārabdha, example of prārabdha, born into a wealthy or a poor family. Aprārabdha, it's a hidden future consequences of what you're doing. Drinking too much of alcohol, cirrhosis of the liver 30 years down the line, like that, right? It will be a financial setback, investing in the wrong places, you get that. So it's a long-term impact that's going to happen. Then kutam, right? Kuta means it's still dormant. It's dormant. The reaction is not happening to you, right? It is not yet clear also. It's not yet a clear seed. Example is that you have a tendency, right? You have a tendency to do something. So that is kuta. Tendency to steal is kuta. And through devotional service, you can get rid of that tendency. If you don't, then it'll take you to the next level. Bijam. Okay? Now, in Bijam, so there was a tendency to steal, and now I have made up a desire that, before she leaves, I'm going to steal that purse. That desire has already formed. And later on, based on the desires, you will perform your actions. And then Phalon Mukham. Unmukh means facing, it's towards that direction. So Phalon Mukham is that it's about to fructify. It's about to hit you. Like that, right? So you might not, it's about to hit you, but you might not know. For example, somebody gets a sudden heart attack. It's not that the melody was not there, you just didn't know about it, right? Or you didn't go for an ultrasound, mammogram, or whatever you go, you didn't do that, right? But it is still there. Phalon Mukham, it's going to bear fruit very soon. Like that, right? So we've talked about that, so I'm going to just skip over that. Now, one of the things that people also do is that, when there is destiny, they get so, and when destiny is beating you, and people, they curse the destiny, like spitting at the destiny. And just an example that I have given is that, during a routine walk, you take a walk in the neighborhood, and that day it's very, very hot. And when you went out, it was nice and cloudy, good breeze was blowing in. Then as soon as you stepped out, you walked about half a mile away from your home or 1 mile away from your home, and you have to walk back the 1 mile. And now the sun has come out. It's very hot. So now you're angry at the sun and angry at the clouds. So you put your face up and you spit at the sun. What's going to happen? It's going to come back on you. Right? So instead of trying to do that, what you should do is trying a shade of a tree, go stand there until you catch your breath and continue walking, or get an umbrella or take an umbrella for these kind of things, right? So when destiny is hitting you, there are certain things that we should be thinking about. And then again, I already talked about this verse that Krishna permits us to do our things. Yeah, go ahead.
You said Krishna sanctions every action. So there are bad people doing bad stuff. What about that?
Yes. So the question is that Krishna sanctions everything, and there are bad people doing bad actions. So what about that? Is Krishna really sanctioning bad actions? And the answer is yes, right? And so we have to go a little bit deeper. I'm just being mindful of the time. Shipra, do you want me to go on a little bit more? I have a few more slides to cover, or take questions during dinner, or whatever works for you.
We can go for a few more minutes.
Okay, just give me this, right? When you want me to stop. Yeah. And if I don't answer, then I will cover it. Yeah. So we have to first understand, we have to go to the roots of why we are here. So why are we here? Not here, but in this material world.
Karma.
Is it karma? Why did you come to the material world in the first place? Where did it start? What was the desire? You're right, but what was the desire? You're right. Yeah, expand a little bit more.
To explore.
The desire was to explore. Okay. Anybody else wants to embellish that answer? Huh? Unfulfilled karma brought it, but the very first time. Gunjan? Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing that I'm going to tell you the original story, and you love it. Sometimes when I'm feeling very bad, I just remind myself that I used to live in Golok Vrindavan. Not just me, all of you, actually. So in Krishna's creation, 75% of Krishna's creation are still living in the Vaikuntha planets, and Golok Vrindavan is one of them. Okay? Only 25%, me for sure, are here. So what is the reason that we are here in this? So let's go back and see why Krishna created all of us. So Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. He likes to enjoy, but you can't enjoy things alone. There has to be an enjoyer, and there has to be an enjoyed. For example, you are the enjoyer, and an ice cream is the enjoyed, and you go lick it. right? For everything you need, for enjoyment, you need a second there. So Krishna being the supreme enjoyer, he created not a second, but Bahunam, Bahu, he created many to enjoy. And he has the souls, and he has wired, he has designed, he has written the software algorithms for the soul to do devotional service to the Lord and feel happy doing that only, right? And wanting what is devotional service? It is loving Krishna. So Krishna wanted love. So Krishna's got everything. Only thing, one thing he lacks and he wants from us is love, our love, right? But to get love from somebody, we can't force and say, hey, Aditi, from today onwards, you're supposed to love me. You cannot say that, right? I have to give her the free will. So that is why the free will comes into picture, that Krishna gives free will to all the souls, whether they want to love and do devotional service to him or they don't want to do that. Okay. So now when Krishna gives the free will, now we exercise the free will. Some exercise the free will and said, okay, we are going to continue with devotional service, and they are up there. 25% said, no, who is Krishna? Why should I worship Krishna? Why should Krishna enjoy? I want to enjoy Krishna independent of Krishna. Like that, right? So for those people, Krishna said, okay, you want to enjoy? Let me create a playground for you to play. So this whole material world has been created for us to try to enjoy. And why we will not be able to enjoy this material world is because we are wired that way. We are wired to feel happy only when we are serving Krishna. Okay, so that is the original reason why we are all brought here. And this is a place for indulgence. Krishna will allow you to indulge in everything. So good thing, bad thing, Krishna is saying do that, because even after you do a bad thing, it might not be evident immediately. You know, it could be kutam, bijam, you know, then phalon become, and then when it becomes prārabdha, it's like, I will not do it again. So it's a learning. So whenever there are bad things happening to us, immediately we should look at it as an opportunity to learn a lesson from that. What can I learn? Instead of saying, I'm a victim, why is Krishna doing to me? That's victim mentality. Like that. Does that answer your question? Okay. Also, I was reading with Shyamalagi the other day that there are butchers, right? They are butchers, and they eat meat, they cut meat, they do all that. So why is that allowed? That's a question that was also discussed in the Prahlad Maharaj's pastimes. And Narad Muni is explaining this to Maharaj Yudhishthira. And he says that sometimes excess of a bad thing will make you give up the bad thing. And I'll give you an example. That when I was growing up, we had another family close by, and they had a son, very beautiful, last son in the family, last child in the family, and pampered completely. And he had this habit that he would not drink plain water. He wanted like, I'm going to get a glass of water. Okay, mom, please add 2 spoons of sugar in it. Chini ka pani peena hai, bas. Plain water nahi. And the father was telling him it's not good for health. Don't do this, don't do that. So he started crying. And so the father said, okay, sit down. Today I'm going to give you as much as you want. 1 glass, fantastic. I don't know what's happened to dad today. He's so happy, and he's like, okay. So 2 glass, 3 glass, 4 glass. I was there. I was 13 years old at that time. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, vomit. It all came back. After that, he never asked for it. Right? So sometimes Krishna will allow you to do that. You want to eat meat, okay, eat meat. As much as you want, right? And then when you go to a higher level of philosophy, which might appear to be very cruel at this stage, is like, who got killed? You are a soul. The animal was also a soul, right? So jivo jivasya jivanam, right? It's a law of material nature. Hastani ja hastani, apadani chatuspadam, padgani tatra bhatam, jivo jivasya jivanam. That in this material world, one species is the food for another. Food cycle. We read that, right? So sometimes too much of it. And he gives the example that, if you pour ghee on fire, spoon by spoon, the fire will continue to blaze, right? But if you take 1 bucket of ghee and pour it on the fire gets extinguished, right? So that's the fire that wants to do bad things, that desire gets extinguished. Okay, karo, jo karna hai, right? But consequences, fir bhugatna, right? Okay, so Krishna says that I am in everybody's heart and I am the Upadrishta, I am the observer, seer, and I'm also the Anumanta. I give you the permission to do it. And so now, why does he give the permission? That's the reason he gives the permission. So Krishna is doing the supervision, right? Supervision means to supervise somebody. But then that supervision, remember, Krishna's supervision is happening because he has supervision. He has got a superior vision than what we have. He can see the future. Bhavashyani cha bhutani mam tu vedana kaschana, right? So I know the future. Krishna knows the future. Krishna knows what is good for me. So have that faith in Krishna, right? So let's see. Yeah. So destiny dictates our situation, but free will determines our decisions that we're going to make, armed by this shastric knowledge. Right? So let's look at the reactions that people did when there were reversals in their fortune. Kamsa loved his sister a lot, loved her to death, got her married to his best friend Vasudeva. And then as he was driving the chariot. He's a king, but he was driving his sister's chariot and to take her to the in-laws place. And then there is this Akashvani, right? The prophecy comes that, her 8th child is going to be ill. And then rest is history. So this was something came out of the blue, a reversal of his fortune. His beloved sister is going to produce a child who's going to kill him. How did Kamsa react to that? It's history. I don't have to tell you that. Gets killed, right? Maharaj Parikshit from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, right? When Bhagavatam opens with the story of Maharaj Parikshit, that he was hungry, he was tired, he was lonely, he had lost the tribe, lost the group with whom he had gone out hunting. And he enters this hermitage of a sage Shamik Rishi who is sitting in meditation. And this king enters and he says, why is he not taking care of me? Why is he ignoring me? Does he not know I'm the emperor of this entire universe, of this entire world, not universe, sorry. And he gets so disgusted because hunger is there, tiredness is there. They tell you, right, when in driving schools, hungry, angry, lonely, tired, pull over, right? He did not do that. Instead, what he did, he just took the bow. There was a dead snake lying there. He picks up the dead snake and he puts it across the neck of Shamik Rishi. And then his son sees that from a divine vision, from a distance, and he curses Parikshit Maharaj to die within 7 days. What was Parikshit Maharaj's reaction? Very different from Kamsa's, right? So it is our choice. It is our choice. He had 7 days. He sat down to listen to the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. He didn't scheme and plan, let's kill all the kids who are there and let me send my sister Baki and Bakasura and Agasura. Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? Where is Krishna? Of course, he was chanting Krishna, so he got a better deal. All right. So that's why Queen Kunti in her prayers actually says that, Krishna, when there are problems in our life, you have always come and taken care of us. Please give me more problems in life. So it's difficult to be Queen Kunti, but that is what, If we can cultivate a mode of Queen Kunti, that would be just fantastic. So between the stimulus that destiny gives you, or this material world gives you, and response, you have the free will to choose. Right? And also you have the intelligence to understand. Intelligence to understand why these things are happening to me. Intelligence to understand my identity, who am I? I'm not this body. Why am I bothering so much about this? Right? I'm a soul. What am I doing about the soul? Why am I here? If becoming the CEO of an organization is not my aim, or should not be my only aim in life, I'm not saying we need devotees as CEOs in organizations. If that is not my, but then what is my real aim? What is for best benefit for me? Those are the questions that we should be asking, and that is where we should be putting all our energies there. So I'll stop here. Thank you so much for your participation. We'll take questions. Yeah, over dinner tomorrow, day after, anytime that you wish. But fantastic, and thank you so much, Shipra, again for giving us this opportunity.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mataji. This was a very, very confusing topic which would always keep coming, and we were like, we would get confused while trying to answer it. And it was so amazing the way you explained everything, the beautiful examples that you shared to make everything clear. I would just like to comprehend what I understood. I hope I understood it correctly. But at the end, what I basically the takeaway is like destiny is basically the environment or the external stimulus that's happening because of our past karma. Free will is our choice of action that we always have. And God is the one who decides the result. So that's why there's no point of being attached to the result. We just need to choose the right action.
Very rightly said. Yes, you summarized.
Hello. I think she is my wife, and she gave so many lectures and never heard any lecture. And
Look at that.
today, when I was coming, we were writing about that in Google direction, and she said you should listen to them. And today I love it.
That's it. I am So, this is something I want you to ponder after this class, and I want somebody to, I want all of you to pay attention. I'm going to read it aloud. So, life does not always unfold according to our plans. Only 2 people, 3 people. Life does not always unfold according to our plans, but it always unfolds with a purpose. Always with a purpose. So always you should be asking, what's the lesson for me? The unexpected is not a disruption of our journey. We thought so. The journey is like that, right? Like today I thought we'll take 101 and we'll take San Antonio because that's what the map told. But then Rakesh Prabhu somehow was listening to on a different cell phone. And before we left the house, we both said, oh, it's on San Antonio, we take it every day. And then after some time when San Antonio is passing by, he says, oh, the GPS is saying we should take other one, I don't know what, Shoreline.
Should change the direction, I don't know why.
And said that, right? So but that is a disruption of our journey. That was a disruption of our journey, right? We were journeying, and it was a disruption to the journey. So these kind of disruptions come in our lives, and instead of shouting, which I did, because I want to come here on time to make sure the system works.
I want to be 4:30. Yeah.
So it's often the path, very path, which is meant to deepen our faith. Faith in God will not come when life is very good. Then the faith will come in ourselves and our capability to handle everything on my own. It's only when we are thrown into a pit, that's when we start praying to the Lord and say, okay, So, and it is also a chance for you to refine your character. Because how you react to that, right? I mean, obviously I need a lot of refinement in my character, not to shout or say anything when Rakesh takes a long time. And draw us closer to what truly matters. So what truly matters? What is it important for me to come here on time, or was it important for me to have a better relationship with my husband? Is it liberation? You'll constantly be always,
I can say this thing. I know you cannot shout to anyone. I'm the only one you can shout to.
You're not going to be throwing gems today. Yeah. But the good thing about marriage, I can tell you, is that as it becomes, it's like wine, the older it gets, the better it is.
Yeah.
Because I remember if I would shout or he would shout at me 40 years ago, we would talk for 3 days.
Yes.
Right? Not eat food, and don't look at me, I hate you. And now it's like you shout, and next moment we are talking normally. Okay. When circumstances feel uncertain, we are invited to shift from control that you want to do Because when you try to control, the anxiety will come because you can't control everything. So you shift from control to trust in the Lord. That whatever is the result, that result, Lord is doing it for my good. Right? And from anxiety to surrender. Welcome life's surprises as opportunities for growth. What seems like a detour today, what seemed like a detour for us, Shoreline versus San Antonio, may later reveal itself as a divine protection or redirection. During this phase, you hold steady to your values that you have. Keep your heart anchored in faith and take each step with patience. Even in the unknown, this is a very powerful line. Even in the unknown, you are being guided. Even in the unknown, it is unknown to you, but Krishna is omniscient. He knows everything. He's like the GPS who's guiding. You take this, okay, you want to come to Shipramati, says take San Antonio. We don't take San Antonio. We go further. GPS knows now how to go to Shipra's home. Similarly, Krishna also does that. Okay, you fell into the yoni of an animal. Okay, fine, we'll do something to bring you up back again. Like that. So Krishna is omniscient. He knows everything. He's the GPS of our life. Right? So could keep those thoughts in mind. And now I'll really shut up. Thank you for listening, and thank you for participants here, both on Zoom as well as on Facebook and YouTube. Thank you for joining our class here today. Thank you so much. Those of you here in the room, I'm just amazed. It's a very amazing group, and starting with the kid who asked a wonderful question. And to all of you, where is he? He may be playing. Yeah, he's being a kid now. That's fine. Yeah. So we will call it a day here. I'll put an end to the Zoom call as well.